Who are you? How many of you are press? How many of you are aides to congressmen? Good. Parents? Parents? Teachers? How many of you are parents think you know what your kids are doing online? Good. So I'm Jim Bauer. In 1999, I had a problem. Here's the problem. Well, the first problem is that our schools don't work. The second problem is, or the advantage is, or the good thing is that this technology can potentially do something about that. But here's the real problem. Learning requires that people communicate. And learning requires that 8-year-olds talk to 50-year-olds. And learning requires that actually you don't cut things off at age 13. 13 is a really interesting age to have COPA. Because in fact, from age 8 to 14, I'm going to talk like a professor, is probably the most significant period of child development, and 13's right dead in the middle of it. So we had this problem. We wanted to build an online world, learning-based world, where kids and adults could get together and learn. That required we solve the problem of keeping kids safe. And more importantly, actually, that we actually build a kind of community where people can learn. So just some data. We actually were the first virtual world for kids. That's been now certified by the US Patent Office. This is our growth chart. I'll just note with no marketing since we launched in '99. We're 72% young women, average age 12 and a half. For those that know what ComScore compositional indexes are, we're 570 for tweens and 810 for tween girls. So in other words, we're one of the sites on the internet that has a very large proportion of 12-year-old girls. This is our list of partners, some of them. A number of these partners care an awful lot about their brand. When we were working with the CDC's lawyers, they said, you have to understand that we're the only governmental agency with a positive rating, and we don't want anything to happen to that. So basically, we had to convince this list of organizations that Yville, which by the way is a full chat site, and 8% of our users are over the age of 60, was actually a safe place for them to store their brand. We have, in a patent we're probably going to get in the next month or so, after 9 years, what has been rated as one of the safest or the safest internet sites on the internet for kids, even though we have lots of adults, even though we're 72% 12-year-old girls, even though we have chat. So here are the assumptions that we made in designing this system. Humans need to communicate to learn and engage. We are, after all, a social learning primate. We can't force good behavior. Users need to want to behave. If you put restrictions on kids, they can't chat, they can't talk, they can't say this, they can't say that, it greatly reduces their interest in being there and greatly reduces our ability to educate them. Some things that should not happen for sure, and those things are blocked. You're innocent until proven guilty in Yville. We don't assume that everyone does bad things right off the bat. We have a system that keeps track of what people are doing, and if they do things they shouldn't do, we have a system that intervenes, actually to shape good behavior. So one of the things we monitor all the time with the data, and we collect a huge amount of data, is how actually progressively behavior changes. We know, for example, that the highest probability that a kid is going to do something they shouldn't do occurs within the first week of their being in Yville. By the time they've been there a year, they're actually not behaving badly. That's what we regard that as a form of learning and an important form of learning. And the best community managers are the kids themselves. In the previous panel, someone asked one of the girls, how do you know someone's age? I can tell you that if you go into Yville and pretend to be 12, and you're not, they know about that within about 32 milliseconds. And they have tools available to report that someone is there that's not actually representing themselves accurately. We have a system that's quite sophisticated that keeps track both of kids, their previous behavior, the punishments they've received. Basically, it's a nurturing, shaping type system. Here's some quick data. We have about 1.2 million chat phrases per day. About 0.5% are blocked. Turns out only 50% of those actually should be blocked. So we err on the side of being conservative. Of the blocked, 50% are for bad language. 20% are for sharing personal information. 15% is inappropriate behavior, including bullying. Password sharing is 10%, and cybering is actually 2%. It's a very small percentage of the things that we see in Yville for our kids. Kids can make 911 reports on other kids. We get about 2,000 of them per month. 5% of them are trivial. 65% of them are innocent. 30% of them are guilty, and 13% of them result in banishment. We actually have a very low banishment rate. And as I said, the longer a kid stays in Yville, the less likely they're actually going to behave badly. So overall, our statistics suggest that this approach, which is really a learning, trust the kids, believe in the kids, believe that kids, when they know the rules, and we have a chat license test, which they all go through, so that they actively learn the rules, they know the rules, they actually will behave, and most importantly, if they want to be in the community, they believe in the community, they want to support the community, then they themselves will enforce the community rules to protect the community. And that actually is the strongest basis you can have for safety or security on the internet or in your local neighborhood.